just here for the. I'm just the.
Here we go, guys.
Scooter riding.
Kanye saw, guys. This is Jeremy with Slammed Life. It's been a minute. If you're watching this, please check out a previous video. There will be an explanation about what I've been doing, why I've been gone, etc., etc. However, I'm here today with a natural lime White Claw because I am above the law right now. And I'm here with my buddies with Drift Riot. They recently went out to Cota, and we're going to sit down and kind of talk about their experience because honestly, like, the Circuit of Americas sounds like an amazing fucking place to me, in my opinion, honestly. But it's also a place where there's F1 racing, there's also grip racing. I'm sure that they have track days for you to go out and take your special car. But nonetheless, they were able to go out to there, and they had a little option to be able to do like a drift event kind of on the side, give a little ride-alongs, things like that. And it was put on by Lone Star. So I feel like this is an excellent topic to kind of talk about, especially for anyone local that's watching, for anyone semi-outside of the Oklahoma region. I think that this is good information to take because, honestly, Texas is a good place to go to for drifting. And, yeah. So, nonetheless, we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to sit down and we'll start. Nice. All right, everybody. So, we'll start right here, and we'll just work our way around. Once you get in here, however you guys want to do it, it's your situation. But, Matt, I'll let you start first. Say your name and tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, name's Matt Wilson. That's Facebook, and then Sideways City, any other social media places, Twitter, Instagram, stuff like that. I have a car that's been on jack stands for like what, 4 years?
Five.
Okay, yeah, like 5 years.
You're coming on how long I
Getting close to 5 years, yeah.
Since I've ever
back then. I was like,
never end.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not driving right now, but I will be soon.
I'm Austin. I'm a local scumbag that hangs around with these guys. I'm just kidding. No, I really like drifting, and these dudes, I feel like, in the local area are doing really cool things. So I love just everything about, like, our whole scene, like everything coming together and seeing where it can go, you know. So just try and focus on what's going on local to my area and what I'm into. So.
Ben?
Oh, it was me? Okay. I'm Ben. Ben_Drift Riot on Instagram. We also have an official Instagram, which is going to be Drift Riot, all one word, _official on Instagram. I have a 1JZ S13 hatch, and I've been drifting in Oklahoma for about 8 years. Oklahoma scene's pretty cool. I like it here. Texas is pretty cool too. A lot of good stuff going on. So that's pretty much it.
I'm Gunnar. Gunnar style on all the socials. I just like hanging out with these dudes and working on their shit and helping them out when they're out of town and fucking getting things rolling, you know. And yeah.
Just doing the damn thing.
Just doing it. Going there and
Do the damn thing.
Doing it.
going places and doing things.
So I'm Zach, Zach Ferris, Zach_Drift Riot on Instagram. I drive the Red 350Z in Drift Riot, and been drifting a little over 11 years total. How many ever years it's been here? I think it's like 6 now, 6 or 7 with you guys.
All right.
The rest in South Dakota, that's where I started out, and that's basically it.
Can I just say real quick, and I have to say this now, because whenever you first came, I remember that we were trying to work on, you remember Gary and everything, we were trying to work on some kind of profile thing for drivers or something, and it was almost like a Tinder for drifters, right? Like it's a profile of you sharing your car, picture of yourself, talking description and like your parts and shit, right? And I saw this shit and I was like, there's no fucking way this guy's coming. Like, because I saw his car and like it was a turbo VQ or
VQ.
Everything, and I'm like, there's no way that we're about to have a guy that has a car that's like this. I'm like, finally, someone that's here that will step it up, so people will realize, like, make your car look nice too. Like, no offense to anyone that has a car mismatched or anything like that, but just there was a time in Oklahoma drifting where it was acceptable. And now, I'm not going to say that it's not acceptable, but because I'm not that guy to say that. But, you know, I mean, make your car look nice if you can.
You have
I understand if you can. Get your seat time, too. That's important.
There's only like a handful of dudes back in the day, you know, like that had even like an engine swap. You know, there was like a couple SRs, like 1 or 2 LS cars. You know, like everybody pretty much just like
Tony's car.
Yeah, you pretty much just like everybody was trying to find out, you know, what like how to do all this shit because there wasn't a lot of it around Oklahoma. Like we could go down to Texas Motor Speedway and check out FD, you know, or any of the Lone Star events and stuff like that. But like for the most part, you had like what you saw on the internet, which like to younger kids is like almost unattainable.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So like you got to figure out, oh, what do I got to do to kind of get everything to do this?
So,
it looks so
out of everybody in here, who has actually drifted in Texas?
Well, technically, I took a lap, but
Oh yeah, I drove Dyson's car in Texas.
All right.
You got that?
Yeah.
Okay.
At
So-
the airport.
So I guess this would kind of be a good time. We'll kind of skip around some here. So then, how would you say describe Texas drifting to me? I've never been to an event. I know I've been to several events. Don't get me twisted. But how would you describe Texas events?
Rowdy.
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot bigger than Oklahoma.
Pretty fast.
In certain
Really
aspects.
fast.
I mean, when you're comparing like Oklahoma tracks to Texas tracks, like we've got some really cool facilities in Oklahoma, and I love it.
Yeah.
But Hallett's like the only fast track we have. Everything else is like a 40, 50 mile an hour track. In Texas, it's like every track they have, with maybe the exception of speed sports, is like 100 mile an hour entries.
Police Academy.
Are they still doing events there?
No, I'm pretty sure it shut down because I had
I
asked
don't think
somebody.
they're
I think it was.
I think their
you.
last one's
Or
coming
no,
up.
Hershey was the one I think
Yeah,
that
I
told me
know
that they were
Gulf
shutting
Oh,
down.
that's that one. Okay.
Yeah, they were shutting down
There
North
you-
Park or whatever.
Yeah, Gulf Greyhound Park's shutting down next month. That's their last event. But even there, you can still do like 60, 70 mile an hour entries. You know, they got 2 road courses in Houston, I think. And they're both really like 4th gear, super fast entry. You got Texas Motor Speedway.
Club Loose, Texas. They do the skid pad events.
Yeah, I've never been there, so can't speak to it.
No, yeah.
It's cool to know that there's a club loose now in Texas, though. But you know, obviously, I mean, like, you know, so we did kind of talk just now a little bit about Texas events. Now, what about in Oklahoma? You know, you guys have a favorite track here, or you know,
I like OMC.
OMC,
Yeah.
the Norman
Yeah.
track.
It's a great, smaller. It's not a fast course by any means, but it's got elevation changes. It's got dangerous spots. It's you know it's got its dangers if you're
Yeah,
on
Sure,
line.
that first bank.
I like coming off that bank just ripping. There's that chance that if you overcook it, you could go plowing into everybody. So I like that the inherent risk there.
Would you say that for someone that's not into drifting, especially coming into an Oklahoma event, like if it's my first event and I'm like 18-year-old Jeremy and you know I'm like I still got like $5,000 saved, I'm trying to buy a first car and stuff, but I want to get into drifting now, would you say OMC is probably a good track to come and see then?
I would say yes, but be smart about it.
Yeah.
If it's your first time ever and you've never done this before, you could come up and ask any of us to go out with you. Because I would say just if you don't know what you're doing yet, don't go to try to link any of the corners together. Just try to come into a corner slowly, pull the e-brake at a speed that wouldn't throw you off the course, so you can start getting a feel for it.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really hard unless you have a natural ability for it. But I can tell you, if you've never drifted before, it's going to be frustrating and hard and a little scary to try to drift OMC if it's your first time.
That's what I tell everybody who it's their first time out there, and they'll be like, hey man, what do I need to do to link the course? I'm like, don't link the course. Like, take it one corner at a time. Like, when you get comfortable with those corners, then you can start to like work through. Because there's parts where you are gonna just like roll your car into a fence or something if you're being stupid.
Those tire walls.
Tire walls,
Those tire walls,
yeah.
and they got these little black barriers that look like the karate The
Oh,
karate,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the karate punching
Like,
back thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
You just
like
gotta be-
one with like the dude on.
Oh,
it.
yeah.
We need
Yeah,
to
they're
convince
like
Barry that we can put a
boxing
dude on
things.
one of
Yeah.
those.
just like be smart. Don't drive beyond your abilities. You know, I guess.
Understood on that one.
If you don't
Understood.
even drift it, that's okay. I would, drive the course, and if the car gets out from underneath you a little bit between the corners, just so you get used to that. Don't push it any harder, especially if it's your first time. But,
I love OMC, but Cam's Acres, the new facility down in southeast Oklahoma, is pretty lit.
Yes.
That place is cool. That track has got a lot of potential. It's brand new. Tons of different track layouts you can do. I like it a lot. I like it down there.
First time out there, I was not driving. I was just taking photos and going for ride-alongs. And let me say, that track fucks. It's
Yeah.
excellent.
Even like the cruise there is like pretty cool. 'Cause
Yeah.
you're on, like,
Don't
back highways.
do it at
Yeah.
night, especially if you have a trailer. I was in a fucking Kia Forte 2016, and it was sketchy. Don't do it at night. If you're gonna drive there, don't do it at night. Do it during the day. Wake up early. Thank yourself later.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah, the whole trip down there.
I drove down there to go camping and explore the event and see the track for the first time.
Oh,
and
you couldn't find it.
I found it.
There's no light.
I found it.
Eventually.
I found it. I showed up maybe 30 minutes later than what my timer said I was going to show up, but that was okay. Let me tell you though, the drive out there though is so sketchy because it's dark. There's parts where
There's no
it
lights.
opens. Yeah, there's no lights. There's parts where you're on a two-way lane, right? So a two-lane, one going this way, one coming back. towards
Country
you.
road.
Country road. And then it opens up for a second, and then it closes off. I almost got run off the road by a fucking semi-truck that night.
Yeah, you gotta watch out for those guys.
It's fucking sketchy. Just be careful going at night. Otherwise, I would suggest if you're a truck and trailer, just wake up early and go. That's just my opinion.
The camping out there though is awesome.
It is.
It's like
Yeah.
pitch black. Like once you're there, you can see the Milky Way. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Every star in the sky.
Sweet facility.
No
and they got
satellite.
tire machines there that are
Yeah.
manned. People can change tires.
They had somebody
Concession
cooking.
stands.
Concessions
Oh,
cooking.
the burgers.
Dude,
Barbecues
the
and
burgers. Oh man.
Best burgers at
on
an
top
event
of
I've
that-
ever had.
From the last
Yeah.
time I went, I will post some pictures in here while we're talking. I know I'm kind of saying this a little bit later on in this, but there's some pictures that I took at nighttime of some of the cars and stuff just parked in the pits. I'll post up some of those pictures here. It's some of the Drift Riot guys. Check them out. Going ahead and just kind of moving along. Tell me a little bit about Drift Riot. Like, what is Drift Riot? You know, I know you guys. I've known you guys for years at that. You know, you guys have known me since I was Spooby. But, you know, tell me what Drift Riot is, or tell us what Drift Riot is.
Well, to me, it's just basically a bunch of friends that drift together with stickers on their car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're just
Yeah.
a group of
There
friends
is
that enjoy
no-
driving together. We're a team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're all looking the same and driving the same, and
The only goal, like, there's no goal to like be the next somebody or go the next place. It's just like we're friends. We started a drift team. We don't have the same car. Like, we all have very different cars, but we made them
All Nissan. All
all
Nissan. Hey,
yeah.
cheers to that.
Yeah, they're all Nissan.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
Mostly
Mostly,
Nissan.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we took our own individual take on our cars, and you know, the vinyls, the liveries, like that's what makes them kind of a similar group, you know,
A
a
conglomerate.
conglomerate,
Yeah.
a gang.
Okay.
We're a gang.
They're not going to be listed on the FBI wanted list like ICP.
Yeah, but
Hopefully.
I mean, the goal there is just to like mob. You know, we party. We want to go to like different tracks and different events and drive and throw down. Like we want to like run doors. We're not trying to go pro.
Respect.
You know.
Respect.
Just like traveling around, partying together, drifting together,
Yeah.
meeting other new people.
I want to see as many different tracks and as many new facilities as I can. We've been friends for a long time, and we just drive That's it. We're friends. We drive.
We drive. So.
This next question, now I feel like you guys might feel like this is a loaded question, but this isn't, I promise. Just keep it kind of simple. What is cota? I'm asking this as if I'm a spooby that is getting into cars. I know what F1 is. It's fast go-karts in my opinion at that point. You know what I'm saying? You get what I'm trying to say. You get what I'm saying.
Formula One's more than fast go-karts, but
I'm thinking back to whenever I was 13-year-old Jeremy and I was just getting into cars, which, again, check my previous video. I will talk about why I'm getting into cars, but I got into cars, whatnot, but...
Matt probably knows more about cota than any of us because I don't think really.
Because I'm the only one who watches Formula One.
Nobody else cares about F1.
I didn't get to
Matt,
experience.
this is your time to
Okay,
shine.
no.
What is cota?
So I've seen cota multiple times obviously on TV or like live stream F1 whatever.
Let's look, yeah.
It
Nobody knows what cota stands for.
Okay, so cota is COTA. It stands for Circuit of the Americas.
Yeah.
It was actually built as a Formula One track in Austin after Formula One stopped going to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Brief history, blah blah blah, whatever. So, like I was saying before, I had seen cota, obviously on TV or streaming, whatever. I was blown the. Can we cuss? Okay. I was blown. That's true. I know. I'm like focusing on like actually talking now. I was blown the fuck away whenever I actually got there. The facility, you just look at it and you can tell it is a high class facility.
Top notch.
Yeah. And I mean, even where we were, just on this little skid pad, everything was nice. It was probably the nicest racing facility I've ever.
We're on the infield of the track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The track
I think it was
is
right
going
around.
around us.
Oh, wow.
We went under the tunnel.
Yeah.
And the skid pad
Yeah.
was inside the track.
Yeah, it's
So-
on the infield of the track right around. Sorry, right around I think turn
It's turn
12 or no, it's turn 12 or 14 or something like that. And you have these really awesome bridges that go over the main track. My girlfriend and I kind of walked away from some of the drifting so she could see some of the actual grip racing and everything like that. And let me say one other thing. Formula One track elevation changes. Holy shit.
Well, those were pretty gnarly.
Yeah, it's like a mountain.
You're on a mountain.
Yeah,
It's
right.
insane.
Hairpin at the top.
yeah.
Top of the
Okay,
hill.
so,
I want to save this just for a second because and this is me just going to talk real quick off record. Knowing that my camera is going to shut off here at a 30-minute mark, right now we should be at about 23 to 25 minutes.
Oh,
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut us off because I think you're at a very valid point, which is some more things that I really want us to get into. But we'll go ahead and take a quick break. Hey everyone, it's Jeremy with Slam Media, and I just wanted to come on and say thank you guys for watching. If you're returning watching, I do owe you guys a little bit of an explanation here. So essentially, around the time whenever COVID hit, I was actually living out my dreams of doing full-time photography, videography work. However, with COVID hitting in, I ended up having to pick up a new job, which that new job led to another. And finally, I've been able to start getting back to my time to be able to edit and pick up my camera again. In between, I did have a few clients here and there. Shout out to them. They know who they are. Thank you guys so much. In which, who knows, I'm probably going to share some more content on here, a little bit about that later. But in the meantime, let's get back to this podcast, and I'll catch you guys on another break. We are back now, guys. We just stopped to take a little break so that we can use the restroom, some other things, whatever, whatnot. But we left off and we were talking about cota, Circuits of the Americas. That is a track in Austin, Texas. If you don't know, it is an F1 track as well as it's going to be a racetrack, of course. There was an event out there where they actually had a grip time attack battle. And they also had drifting going on, so we are stopping to talk with the guys from Drift Riot, talk a little bit about the experience, talk a little bit about the track. I've personally never been, but all of these guys here, they have all been, and it sounds like it was a good time, but we left off with Matt giving us a brief description about the track. So, Matt?
I was going to say, first timers, I'm pretty sure all of us were first timers to cota, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
My second time.
Oh yeah.
So Zach went in 2021, right? Last year.
22.
Yeah. way to date the podcast. Like here, we're in 2022 right now. So like all of us except for Zach had never been there before, and like I was saying earlier, on where we were at, you could see on one of the hairpins there was an elevation change that was like, you'd go up, and I would say it's like what, like 100 feet probably,
Yeah, I don't know.
or more.
I have no idea, but yeah, it's like
up
a fucking
and
mountain.
then like down, like it looked like a roller coaster, honestly.
Yeah.
I had played it in Forza, and like I thought it was like, oh, that's a big, like steep hill. But, like seeing it in person, I'm like,
Right,
holy
yeah,
shit.
you see it, and it's just like, holy
Super
fuck.
tall.
Okay, and that's coming up and then like back down. Like those cars are so fast, and then it goes into because after that,
Fast, I'm sure.
yeah, because after that hairpin with the elevation change,
You just don't want to
it
fly off
goes.
the backside of it.
Yeah.
Well,
You gotta be pro.
speaking of Coda, we know that it is in Austin, Texas. Can you guys tell me about how long that trip was?
6 hours.
6,
If
7.
you
It depends
don't,
what
Yeah,
car
if you
you're on.
don't,
Yeah.
yeah.
Depending on like, are you talking about on the way there or on the way back?
I'm talking about either, like, I guess, what would you say your time spent on the road? You know, trailered up,
I'd
getting
say
there, and maybe.
I think the way there was what,
Well,
like 6 or 7 hours?
6
Wait,
to
that
8
wasn't too
hours,
bad.
depending
Six.
on traffic.
Yeah, I was gonna say we hit traffic in Waco, which kind of sucked.
Oh, that was terrible.
Waco was gnarly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd say 6.5. I think got us to Austin, but then we got there too early to register in the Airbnb, so
Oh,
we
yeah.
had to find a park. And
That
then-
park was dope though.
Yeah, and we
Yeah,
just
so we
parked
went out
this-
there for like
we
an
did this
hour.
park and
No, like
explored
30
some
minutes.
woods and crushed some
Lot.
beers.
A lot of cactus and bodart trees.
A lot of needles.
Texas has everything spiky.
There were a lot of pointy things in that forest.
No, like legit, there was like a pile of needles. Like we were walking through this trail at this park, and there was literally a pile of needles.
And then
Like,
Like syringes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
syringes.
syringes.
Like, that was
Oh, yeah.
syringes.
Yeah.
A pile.
In this park.
Texas has a heroin problem.
No, okay. The crazy thing,
That part of
I never
Texas.
so I never said anything about this, but I noticed like there's all these needles, there's like trash everywhere, whatever. I didn't see any mattresses.
Just a
Yeah,
couple
no,
blankets on
yeah.
the ground.
Yeah, there were just blankets on the ground.
No, the homeless in that area do have the right idea, you know, live in the national parks. Because that's, you know, sustain yourself.
Way better. Way better.
This
Like,
is a, this
Live
is a
in the
really
national
good
parks and
ad
not in
for
the
park
middle of the city
department.
where, you know, it's hard
well,
to
we didn't
live.
say the name of the park, so it's okay.
I
In
don't
the
even
national
remember
park,
the
you can
I
build
don't
yourself
well,
a
okay.
shelter,
I found it, but you know, it's
But-
sustain yourself.
So then obviously it's not really a far trip. It's a far trip. I mean, 8 hours of
It's a
your
day
life.
trip.
It's a day trip, right?
it's not like
but
Houston.
you know, it's.
It's about the limit of how much I want to freaking drive.
Is it worth the drive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
For the
don't.
weekend?
Okay, so here's the deal. I don't want to drive 7 hours to drive in a parking lot unless I'm getting paid to drive in the parking lot.
I
But
got
you,
you.
but we
I
were
got
getting
you.
paid.
Which
We
you were
all
getting paid to.
Yeah.
I will drive. If the track is cool enough, I'll drive 20 hours. I don't care. Like,
Grid life.
I mean, Alpine Horizon is 10 hours from here.
Tell me just a little bit more about, you know, your experience there. I mean, like, you're walking into Coda. I know for me, my first time walking into Texas Motor Speedway was kind of like, a track. Like, cool. Like, I'm seeing flags and all this other stuff. Like, you know, I went and just Googled and looked up pictures of the tower that they have there. It's really nice. It's a
It's
really
really-
nice piece
yeah.
of architecture.
$20 to the top.
Yeah, it's not free. You gotta pay $20 to go up to the top of that tower, man.
I acted like I was gonna run up there. I was trying to like get out of paying, but I was like getting a head start. Like I'm like, all right, I'll fucking race you up. And I like took 3 steps up and like walked back down. The guy was just like, hey, you guys pay $20. I'm like, bro, you can't pay me to walk up here. I'm paying you $20.
Well, dude, hey, that guy probably couldn't have even like chased you.
He
up
couldn't
there.
have caught you.
Like
even if he
you're
tried.
athletic as fuck. Like
Yeah.
there's no way as hell that dude could have like made
So-
it all
I'm
the way
not
up
worried
there.
about the fact
So-
of the matter. Like, I just thought it was hilarious. He thought I was gonna like try to sprint up that shit and try to get out of pay 20. I'm not going to. I'm walking up the stairs.
So what was
Yeah,
it like
hell no.
pulling up to the gates? Cars loaded. and you're checking in. What's that experience like?
So, to be honest, it was pretty anticlimactic. We pulled up, and the guy was like, "You gotta sign this waiver." And I was like, "Okay."
Naturally.
I was like, "What do we do now?" He's like, "I don't know, keep driving." And so we just kept driving,
And that's why they had a parking pass the second day.
And so, but yeah, we pulled up to the pits. We parked the trailers, unloaded the cars. Our friends from Teal were out there. So we pitted.
Well, hang on. Till they make what? They make just shirts.
Clothing company, shirts, koozies, hoodies,
Buttons,
stickers. Yeah, like
buttons.
it's
Right there.
There'll
it's
be a
like-
link somewhere in here. Check it out.
Yeah, they put a link in there.
Shout out to Till.
So we pit with these guys, and at that point, track opens, which track is a parking lot, skid pad, and we go just drive. People walk up, they want to pay for a ride along, they pay, they sign a waiver, they
What
jump
was
in the
this?
car.
What was this track like? Describe it to me.
Kidney bean?
It's Big Bean.
Yep.
Yep.
Cones.
With 2 sweepers, I guess.
And a big ass wall.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah.
There was
There's
a
a
wall.
car that got rode off at that.
Yeah.
Oh damn.
Wait, like straight right off?
Like it looked like
It
it
was
was
pretty
I mean,
total.
the front was pushed in. Like,
350Z.
Oh.
That 350Z.
Oh yeah, that's
yeah.
the.
he pushed his front end.
Like, if this was his frame rails before, this
I
was his
think.
frame rails after.
Yep.
Damn.
It's pretty bad. I don't know who it was. So,
So a decent speed course. I'm
it was a
assuming,
second year track. Yeah.
Second year,
But it's pretty fun. Like people walk up and want to get a ride along with you and jump in. Most of these people that I gave rides to had never been in a drift car before, so it just blew their mind. It's pretty simple stuff as far as driving goes, but it's kind of cool to like expose people who've never been exposed to that before.
I had a couple people come up who went for a ride last year.
Really?
Wanted to go for round 2, which I thought was pretty
That's
interesting.
That's pretty
That's
cool.
pretty
cool.
Yeah,
Dude,
that's-
last
that's
year
I'll do it
awesome.
again.
Repeat customers.
Hell
Yeah. All right.
So,
So it's gonna be like a yearly thing now,
well, I mean,
maybe.
just, sure.
If-
why not?
I mean,
He wants to.
Now, is this event an invite only thing? Because we know that you were on one of the flyers for it at least.
Mhm.
Is this like a invite only thing, kind of like the U.S. Air events? or
It's
what?
apply.
It's kind of like application.
Whoever gets in there first comes.
Yeah.
Aaron will say, "Hey, we're doing this event, and if you want to do it, you just hit up Aaron and say, hey, want to do it? He'll tell you if there's a slot or not, and it's kind of first come first serve.
Also,
I understand, but it is like he'll either hit you up to do it or first
You're
come, first
either
serve.
like
I don't know how he was really doing it.
you're either like
So many spots for the paid along.
yeah.
There were
There's
so many spots for the paid ride along event spots, and then there were so many spots for drifting in general.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that makes sense. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
So then like first come first serve after
Oh,
that.
so some of the dudes were just there, just driving.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So outside of drifting, right?
Yeah, there were like a lot of
What
free,
else was going
free
on?
guys
Oh,
there.
cool.
Yeah.
There was a car show. We went and walked through it during lunch, and there's some really cool cars. Obviously, all the grip racing stuff.
There was a festival going on.
The
Yeah.
rave,
Yeah.
dude. We were leaving.
I've been hearing these guys talk about this rave for a minute, by the way, guys. So disclaimer here. I don't know what went on, but I'm excited to hear about
Yeah.
We
it.
didn't go see any rave.
Yeah, we did not go to the rave.
No,
We
so,
did
okay, so,
not.
so from what I
We were not expecting that.
Yeah.
But
I was.
we were leaving. And there's stages everywhere, and people,
Cars
yeah,
everywhere.
people walking
In
into-
capes.
in costumes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That sounds like a
And
rave.
cat
Like
ears.
straight up like rave attire.
I saw
stuff
George
like that.
Washington.
Yeah.
George Washington, like seriously.
Disco
like,
capes.
Wait, you saw George Washington?
Not the, but some
Oh, no,
dude-
somebody dressed as George Washington.
Yeah.
I saw someone in
Yeah.
a disco cape and cat ears.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
finally
that's
we're like
normal
trying
at
to
a
pull
rave.
out, and traffic is crazy. because people are coming into Cota as we're trying to leave, and so we're like, why are people coming here? The event's over. And then we like see stages and there's like laser lights going everywhere.
Yeah, we were like, wait.
They use
walking
the
in.
property at Cota.
Yeah.
These
So I figured something out though.
These were
After,
potential
Sunday-
customers.
Yeah.
After Sunday, that was actually part of the show. The I can't remember what
It's
it was
called
called.
Illfest or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. So
Yeah.
so there was the Illfest car show at the race at the
Yeah.
the
In the paddock. In the
and then
paddock.
they had the rave over there.
Well,
Yeah.
all I know is we're like stuck in traffic, and Gunnar's like, roll down the window. I'm gonna ask this girl what's going on. And he's like, hey, what's going on? And she's like,
I feel
there's
like
a rave.
I feel like
Oh, that makes sense. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's covered in glitter.
to rally ready.
Wow.
Hey, I mean, we had a hot tub at the Airbnb, so I was
Yeah.
good.
No,
So
but
how was the Airbnb?
I guess when
Let me stop you.
The
there real quick.
Airbnb was
I
Oh.
love Airbnb shopping. Like that's just a pastime of mine. So like.
don't sleep on the hot tub Airbnb.
Don't sleep on the hot. No, right there. Zoom in on that motherfucker. Don't sleep on the Airbnb.
Don't sleep on the hot tub.
No.
Seriously.
Here's the deal.
There was a fire pit too, the one with the propane like fire
Oh, yeah,
things.
the fire pit.
Yeah. My car broke
got
about
hot.
4 hours into the first day, so I just lived in the hot tub.
Yeah.
And some other things that we may or may not like clip in here real quick. I'll send you the video.
Commercial break here. I'll keep it real quick. Picking up from where I left off at, basically some of the goals for this channel is to actually get back into doing more vlogs, going out to more events and showing and displaying builds, as well as getting out there and doing some interviews and some podcasts. I really enjoyed going out to like Cars and Coffee and doing interviews with people in their builds and current cars that they have, and yeah, I just look forward to get back out there. Plus there's some new tracks that I need to check out in Oklahoma and in Texas as well. Plus there's some other surrounding states that we'll be visiting, but in the meantime, stay tuned. Keep an eye on the podcast, by the way. We'll be doing some more like this. Welcome back. Didn't know there was going to be 3 intermissions, but apparently we needed 3 today because this is an awesome story, and I appreciate these guys and their time and coming out and talking to me about this as well. Thank you, Ben, again for the space. But let's get back to it. Tell me a little bit about what's next. I know that Ben, he currently has an S14 that he's working on. I know that Zach has brought up interest in another chassis. I know that he's been working with his KA, and now he's been driving a lot more, especially within the lighter part of 2021. So just tell me about what's next. You know, I know there's events and things like that coming up. What's going on?
Feel like we should take a lap around the room. Start with Matt.
All right, Matt. What's next?
Yeah, where you at, man?
Where you at, Matt?
I'll
What's
start.
the,
I'll start.
situation
What's the
I'll
status?
start. I'll start. So that way it makes it less painful for him. Okay. so I've had my 240 now
Good
going
man.
on about 2 years. I have a BN Sports Type 3 body kit. It is 55 millimeters in the front supposedly and 70 millimeters in the rear supposedly.
It's wide as fuck.
I've got a 5-leg kit that I need to finish putting on and taking off so I can give this man back his stock front and rear knuckles and lower control arms. Outside of that, I mean, I've got color picked out. I just gotta buy some wheels and buy some big boy wheels and figure that shit out. So yeah.
So very slowly, I actually started with building the chassis. As far as like,
When you say very slowly, how slow do you mean? Like, give us a time frame here.
you're really gonna make this as painful as possible
Yeah.
for me.
When was the last time you drove your car, Matt?
It spun out in an intersection.
It's been about 5 years. It was K back then. I pulled it apart. I got her.
Emotional damage.
Exactly. No, seriously. Cut that shit in like emotional. That like just exactly like that. No. Yeah, it's been a minute. But since then, all the rear arms are on, everything like that, solid subframe bushings, blah, blah. The only thing stock in the rear as far as arms go is still low control arm. But I drive an S14, the superior chassis, so I don't have to worry about anti-squat and everything like that.
A car pretty much the whole entire time I've known him. I've never known him to have anything not. I'm probably the most excited right now to hear about his setup just because that's me. But tell us about your car.
I'm also lazy. It's got a KA because
Yeah, but you drive.
it came in it.
It took him 6 years to get his fucking motor running.
Well, I didn't touch it for 6 years. Was the problem.
That's worse.
Yeah, so you just gotta work on your car. You know, you gotta find the time to get out and do your shit and get your stuff handled. But I finally got it going, and I'm like trying to become like a better mechanic and stuff. So I thought I'd try and teach myself wiring on this car as well. And it's pretty simple. It's just I just gotta like understand it, you know, a little bit. So I'm not good at the simple shit sometimes too. But yeah, just trying to like learn the full part about like building a car, like trying to do it all myself and as cheap as I can, just to have fun with it. It's just a toy, you know, so just mess around with it. But I just want to drive now, you know. I don't really care about wrenching on it. I actually like hate it, but I love it too. But I just want to drive. It's the stock motor actually that came in the car, same block and head, with high compression pistons, forged rods, BC 264 cams, and all this stuff I found local, just of other people's blown up motors. So it's like a Frankenstein engine, and just trying to see what it'll do. And I don't have much money into it. I'm just trying to do it on with a decent budget.
And it makes what right now?
It makes like 310 horsepower, something like that.
Pretty good place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun car on a 235.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. 300 wheel is like a sweet spot. Like you can drive just about anywhere on 300 wheel.
And for the record, his KAT sounds very nice and spicy.
It really
Yeah.
sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Really
It
Yeah.
sounds
I like it.
just like
There's-
this fucking.
Yeah.
It's straight
Speaking
pipe.
of which,
Was it
tell us
straight
about
pipe?
tell us
Yeah,
about
it's all straight
your
pipe.
plans here.
Well, my S13
Oh yeah, you
pile
got
of
another
shit.
turbo. You get a new turbo though.
Yeah. I'm pretty much done with my S13. I've had it for 8 years now.
What are you gonna do with it?
That is undecided.
Party car.
But
Party car.
Got a
this
single cam. We can put a
single.
single.
So
R32 sedan.
no, that car I have driven so hard for so long, and I'm basically to the point where I either like strip the car down and do like tube rear, tube front, redo everything on the whole car, or I just build a whole new car. So I'm building a whole new car. The Jay-Z's going into the new car. It's getting a
It's like
new
almost
turbo,
done.
new manifold. I got a feature fab manifold coming on the way with a Pulsar turbo. It's the equivalent of a Garrett G25 660. So it's pretty small as far as like Jay-Z turbos go, but it'll have still really good response. Make plenty of power for what I want. And yeah, the new car's gonna be cool. It's right here, so.
And is your Jay-Z VTI? Or?
Yeah, it's the 1J VVTi. I have the Z32 trans, and then I'm running a G37 diff with 369 gears. So it should be pretty rowdy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And the S14, of course, is a good platform. I mean, it's got a longer wheelbase than the basic S13. So I'm excited to see what you do with it. You've always had a very hot boy style. I mean, like, you guys can't see it now. We'll be coming back later and doing a video with him, talking a little bit more in detail about what he's doing and building and how it's going. But I mean, your style's always been on point. It's been you 100% all the time. I appreciate that, and I am very excited to see what this will look like and be, and how it will drive. And I'm sure that you will appreciate it a lot more because, you know, like you said, you have been driving on that same chassis for years, you know, and
Pretty worn out.
it's taken its beating, you know,
Yeah.
and it's just time.
We've traded paint a couple times.
More than a couple times.
Yeah.
My car's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gunnar, Zach, who wants to go next?
Cars. things like
Mighty
that.
Max and
Yeah, get that Mighty Max.
Hey,
plug
you got
in
two
there.
for the record.
Yeah.
Gunnar can also talk. You can also talk about the scooter because I still haven't gotten a question about it yet, but I know that thing's pretty rowdy.
The death scooter?
Yes.
Oh man.
No.
What are you talking about? The hover round?
Yeah.
The hover. No, we're talking about the hover round.
Got that too.
Bro,
The two-stroke.
No,
The two-stroke
okay.
scooter, so that thing is a death trap, and don't ride it.
No, it was amazing at Grid Life. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, it was amazing at Grid Life.
yeah. But, just don't.
And hey, Matt Field almost
Yeah.
fucking raced.
He
it.
wanted
He had
to,
his
you
shit.
know, I think
He
he had
didn't want
some,
it.
he had some pride.
Oh yeah. Hey, Matt Field don't want the smoke. Matt Field don't want the smoke.
I mean, yeah, I think he had some priors, but honestly, like, he probably doesn't want the smoke. Because that thing can get it. As long as you don't hit any potholes.
No, it's fast as fuck.
I found that
It's
out
fast
the
as
hard
shit.
way. But yeah, I don't really have any projects, like, as far as drifting goes. Like, I just, you know, plan on riding it out and seeing what these guys do, and, you know.
What do you got going on?
What's going on, man?
Well, my car's a piece of shit right now. He gave her hell at Coda. So a few laps before my car started giving me my second issue. So Sunday or whatever, after Ben broke his car, I went all day Sunday just pulling up to the pit,
Bringing the heat.
throwing the passenger out and the new one in, and heading back out and changing gas and tires and letting the car cool down to a minimum of like 210 degrees before I was going back.
Well, there's your problem.
So like operating temperature.
Was a minimum 200 that day.
Yeah, so
Operating
I mean,
temperature,
my last
basically.
lap, I mean, I'd give somebody I tried to give everybody a lead and a chase run. And what we were doing is, you know, $30 got you a lead and a chase, and in between those runs, we do a pass and pass each other. So you have to do a lead, chase, and a pass and run the wall. And I tried to like get up on the wall, left foot brake a little bit, and just smoke everybody out and just make it fun and flashy. And I think that's what ultimately killed my car at the end of the day. Jake Wise, he's just like, oh, my shit's knocking already, you know, after so many years.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, damn, it's my turn next. You know, you start thinking about that shit, and it's exactly what happened to me.
That's not wood.
So it did it, you know. My mom, there's wood somewhere now.
You just cursed his next motor.
I'm so sorry.
I mean, but I couldn't get the motor to start. When I got back to the pits, it just died and couldn't start
Man.
again. We tried jumping in it. I mean, you'd hit the start button and it just kind of, you know, would spin it all.
It was straight up locked up. Like
Yeah.
we were all pushing it
She
back.
was showing
Dumping coolant for like 30
Yeah.
minutes.
With any negative signs.
It was dumping fuel for like 30 minutes, and then we were pushing it back to his trailer, and he would actually like put it in gear and everything like that, and like, you know, turn the power on and everything like that, and try and get it in gear. And I think Gunnar like almost lost his fucking neck on the.
No, that was Kindle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Was that, so
Yeah.
another one of our friends that was
Yeah.
there, almost like just like
'Cause
got
I was next to him.
decapitated by his wing because
Oh.
we were all pushing it, and
Zach
he
let
went
out
to
on
go
the
try and
clutch.
start
Yeah.
it with like a clutch pop or whatever, and Kendall just yeah.
So it didn't start for 2 days, and then like we got that cold front or whatever came through, and I went out and started the car right up, and so I thought, okay, maybe the starter
yeah.
just got hot, or the motor just got so hot it
19
seized
degrees.
up
to-
for a little bit. I mean, there's some damage there, it has to be. But today I started it up and tried to move it into the other bay so I could put on my lift. And I goosed it a little bit to try to, you know, I was like drifting around in my driveway just to fuck around, and that was it. Just locked up again, so I should have just
And no more.
fucking put it on the lift. But that told me right there I got something going on. So I'm hoping it's just
Rings be
bearings,
fucked.
a bearing failure. I took the serpentine belt off and tried to crank over by hand, and it seemed a little stiffer than normal. So I'm assuming the bearings probably look like melted mush. And I've melted bearings before. It's not,
Spores all through them.
Yeah.
so hopefully it's just the bearings, if anything, or it's just a starter, which my luck, it's not just a starter. So I have to decide to rebuild an engine, buy a new engine, throw that other one on the back burner.
Or buy a Corvette.
I really don't want to do anything, but I'm lazy just like everybody else. But
Exactly.
I hate not driving more than I am lazy. Honestly, I cannot not drive. So I will figure something out.
Well, thank you guys so much for sharing your experience with me today. I appreciate it. And I've had plenty of these, so I'm definitely feeling above the law with my claw. But I appreciate you guys watching. Shout out to Teal. Shout out to Aaron Lodesley, Lone Star, Cota, Drift Riot. You know, thank you guys again, and hope you guys enjoy it. Peace. Thank you guys for watching. Below are some events coming up in Oklahoma that I plan to try and attend to, as well as I wanted to share with you guys all. There's both new track called Cam's Acres. That track's actually been out since last year, which I can't remember their opening date, but they do have 2-day events typically. They do have a tire changer out there, as well as they have someone who comes out with a grill pad, and they make all sorts of things from hot dogs to hot links and burgers. So be sure to check them out, guys. Cam's Acres is going to be a good time. I mean, every time I've went out there, it's been a blast. So as well as, of course, Full Lock Drift is still going to be in effect. Their schedule is out, plus they do offer drift school. So you get a chance to go out, and I believe it's on a wet pad, where they teach you and put you in your car with a instructor who helps kind of teach you the basics about throttle control, getting your car to spin, kind of what is oversteer, understeer, and all that jazz. So it's definitely a great class to take, as well as I would recommend it to anyone who might be a bit rusty or out of tune with their car. So it's a great way to kind of get that seat time and one-on-one time that you want. Plus, like for me in my instance, I'm probably going to end up using it eventually to kind of make sure everything's nice and tight before trying to go out to any bigger tracks or events, making sure my car doesn't overheat and so forth. So stay tuned. Again, like I said, there's going to be some new content coming up in terms of what I'm doing, plus what I'm going to be doing with my car. So thank you guys so much. If you made it this far, you deserve a cookie. God bless you, and goodbye till next time.